welcome to another episode of Inside Your Business. I'm Stephanie, your host, and I am excited and truly honored to be able to bring you here, Brenda, and introduce you to the audience because you have a story that is pretty incredible, and I want others to hear it and really see what can happen when we take maybe not such a great situation and turn it into something incredible and powerful. We go, you quote it, you told me offline if I could help just one person. And I think you and I connect on that same way, is that I started this podcast with the concept of I want to just help one person. If I can have one person be impacted by what I put out that day, I was doing good. And so let's hear a little bit about you before I get blabbering on too much. Tell us all a little bit about you and what you do.
I'm Brenda Nearpass, and I live in North Idaho. I'm a mother of 4 awesome kids, and my husband and I, we have 7 grandchildren between the two of us. So that's pretty exciting to have that many kids. I am an author, and I wrote my book about being a brain tumor survivor.
I love it. And I know when you told me that you started this book purely just as a way for you to remember things because you were going through so much. It's a lot of change all at once. And on top of it, you're dealing with your brain. Memory isn't always there. Like, it's a hard thing that you went through. So writing was your outlet. You just started writing. Have you always been somebody who's like, writing's my outlet, or was this just because in that moment it felt like the most tangible thing you could hold on to and do in that moment?
Well, over the years, I've always kind of kept a diary and would write little stories, but I never finished any stories. With this, after surviving the surgery, I needed to figure out what happened. It happened very quickly. Um, my symptoms started on a Friday, and I ended up in the hospital Monday night and was admitted to the ICU Tuesday morning and had the emergency surgery on Wednesday. And then I was released from the hospital on Saturday. I mean, it was like a total whirlwind. It was the craziest thing. I There was a lot that was missing. Um, I just couldn't remember what had happened, and to try to understand all of it, it was very emotional. Um, I kept asking my family the same questions, and they were very patient with me and would fill me in on the details that I couldn't remember. And I decided I needed to start writing it down. So in the future, I would be able to read through my notes and remember. And I decided after reading it to my husband that maybe somebody might benefit from the experience that I had gone through. And if I could, like I told you, if I could just help one person, that would be, awesome. Because there's lots of times we go through an experience and we think, oh my gosh, nobody is going to understand how I feel. But if we look out there, we'll find that there are maybe a couple people who have actually been through the same experience. And if we can connect to them, it helps us feel better and it helps us to move forward. And so I just would like to help people with this.
And that's so powerful. I'm amazed at how quickly you were, feeling things to being released to whole things. Like, that's a whirlwind of a week. Holy cow. Did you not did you have no symptoms before then? Like, were there nothing that kind of like precursor? Because this obviously was there for a while. It just never showed itself, kind of.
I had headaches all my life, and I had seen doctors about my headaches, and they never did anything for me. So that part of it just wasn't big deal to me, because I just lived with this pain forever. And it wasn't until, Friday morning. I mean, there were other little symptoms along the way. Now we can look back and go, okay, well, that
Yeah.
probably was caused, like there was one time I was walking through an airport about a year before the surgery and I fell. And I thought it was because we were in a hurry and we were walking up a slope in the on the floor. And my daughters, they were like, Mom, why did you fall? What the heck? And I said, well, I just wasn't paying attention, and I didn't notice the difference in the floor. And they're like, there was no difference, Mom. It's flat. So looking back, that probably was one of the times that the brain tumor was messing with me. The type that I had is a meningioma. Sorry, it's hard for me to say, but it's very slow growing. They double in size every 7 years. So for the huge size that my brain tumor was, they figured it probably started growing when I was a teenager. And I had this removed just almost 6 years ago. So I don't, I can't figure how old I was then. 30, 38. I think I was 38 when I had it. So it had been growing inside my brain for a very long time. And so that it was able to adjust because that tumor was so slow growing. My brain was able to adjust and I could pretty much function normally all those years. It was just when it got so huge, it started pushing my brain down my spinal cord. And then it was closing off an air pocket that feeds our brains oxygen. So I was basically suffocating to death because that oxygen pocket was so small.
And you just kept, wasn't until after you wrote down these things, taking notes of everything that was going on and writing through it, that you kind of like, you're like, okay, you read it to your husband. And what was it that made you go, okay, I know you said you wanted to help one person, but taking it from handwritten or on a computer and actually going, let's produce this, are two totally different things.
Yeah.
What was that like first leap? What was that defining moment for you that was like, no, I need to take this and actually produce it?
I feel that God wanted me or left me here so that I could help others. And after reading through, what I had handwritten, I was like, I really do believe that I was left here to be able to spread the message that God is here. He has miracles, creates miracles daily. And if you look at the timeline of how everything played out, there's no way that I could have planned everything so perfect. I mean, I didn't choose the neurosurgeons. The neurosurgeons, it was kind of interesting because the one, he had been on leave for 2 years to spend time with his kids before they graduated high school and went off to college. And just on a whim, he decided to come back to work. And that was the week before my surgery. I was his first surgery back. And the other neurosurgeon that helped him, she was on a short stint, like a 6-month thing there at our hospital. And she's like top of the top neurosurgeons, and she had 1 week left. So the two of them coming together to do my surgery, I mean, it was, to me, that was just amazing how that worked out. So little things like that, just amazed me. And I just had this feeling that God wanted me to do this. And so I sat down, I started typing it out. It was a very long journey. It took me 4 years to write the book. I joined writing groups to help me with those because I didn't know what I was doing. And then I learned how to format and I published it myself. You're on mute.
Love when I do that. I had a dog barking in the background, so I muted myself. So eh, I love that it was a moment that you're like, I just feel prompted. Like, I feel called to do this. This is my time to just, I need to share. And that's what created it. But like, I don't know if you were frustrated, but you were willing to take all the steps necessary and understand that it's going to take time. Like, it's not going to be an overnight sensation. I need to get into this group or that group or do this or do that. And it took 4 years for it to become a reality. You saw the goal and you saw that, what, if I step forward, I can get the resources and do this. It is possible for me to do this because it's not of my will, it's of his. And like you said, it's very, very divinely created, right? When you're getting the intertwining of people that have exceptional talents that shouldn't have been there, but are there, and they're like so many people are like, well, it's coincidence. And I'm like, no, I don't know if I believe in coincidence. I'm more like it was meant to be and that was divinely created and there's a reason. And my question is then, what do you think was harder, producing the book or going through all of the brain tumor things that you went through? I know writing my own books, I've written 2 of them. That is no small feat, and they are really big challenges. So what do you think was the biggest difficulty going through everything you did, including the book? What was the hardest part for you?
The hardest part was believing in myself that I could do it. I mean, it was my brain that was affected. Sometimes I just think that I'm not smart enough. My brain functions differently now than what it used to. And it's sometimes very difficult to figure things out, especially all the techie stuff. I am so not techie, and that is very challenging to be able to learn how to format and use Word properly and figure out the whole procedure of how to publish a book and everything. There were times when I was ready to give up, and then I would be like, nope, I cannot give up because there's a person out there who needs this.
And that is so commendable. That is so powerful. And when you have a why like that, there is no other option. There is no, oh, well, maybe I'll put it down, or it doesn't really need to get published. And it can help you when you think like that, no, there's somebody else who needs this. I am meant and called to share this. It gives you just a different drive, and it gives you a different want than for the fame and glory and the likes and the money of it. It's you're doing something. I call it making your ripples count, and you're making a not so great situation into something that is just powerful and positive. Because you could have easily sat there and gone, played woe is me, played victim, and not pushed yourself to not just go through the surgeries and recuperate and rehabilitate yourself, but then turn around and write on top of that, and not just write, but write and publish when everything is affecting your brain. Like, everything comes down to, does this thing work? Right? And now you're challenging it. You're challenging what maybe society says that we can do or we should do. And you challenged it. And I am incredibly proud of you for that. Like, that is so commendable and so amazing that you didn't let life take an opportunity from you. You created an even better opportunity for yourself and others by going forward. What is some advice, maybe, and you can do this from 2 different perspectives, what are some advice that you have for those that might be going through the cancer side of things and the tumor side of things, but also those going through book writing? So there's 2 different questions. Like, they always have both ends of that spectrum for you.
Okay. Well, never give up. First of all, just never give up. And I have my husband and I, we have a saying, believe and have faith. Believe that you can do something, that you can accomplish something, and have faith in it too. And then just believe and have faith that God is there with you. He is with us constantly, even though there were times in my life when I thought God wasn't there, He had forgotten about me. Now I look back and I can see He was there the whole time. Sometimes He was carrying me, sometimes He was pushing me. Sometimes He was just like, are you serious? Come on, you can do this. And then get a group, get one or two friends. If not a whole group, get one or two friends or family members who are going to support you and help you through the whole thing. I mean, my husband, he has been a big supporter to me. And I have some friends who they just couldn't they were my big cheerleaders. And I needed those cheerleaders. And some of these moments, when I was trying to figure out how to upload the book, and my goodness, that stuff was very difficult for me. But I I reached out to people when I was in those moments of I can't do this. I can't figure it out. And then I would take a deep breath, and then I would reach out to somebody who, I joined these groups with other authors, and I would reach out to them. Okay, I'm about to lose it. How do I do this? So that that's my advice. Just never give up.
And I think that it applies both things of advice and trust and believe and never give up, but find your community. That applies to any and all situations. Whether it's not just book writers, it's not just business owners, and it's not just getting the cancer diagnosis. Those are it's all encompassing. We all need to trust and believe. We need support, and we need to never give up. So many times we have that that ability to give up, but that ability to push through it and go, no, there's a bigger purpose to this. There's a bigger meaning to this. And understand that, like, you could be the face for change. You could be the face that somebody else is begging and pleading shows up. And by you not stepping forward, somebody else could be just waiting and needing you to be that voice that they didn't know that they could have, or be that voice for them in the situations, to feel not so alone in some of the loneliest times. And that could be in any situation, not just as the author, not just as something else, but being you and using the gifts and talents you have, and your voice is powerful. So I have to say thank you for stepping into this and making the best of the situation, writing and using your talents, and stepping into that prompting and not shying away, going, I don't know if I can do this, because that could have been your other option. Very much
Right?
so could have been your other option, and saying, I don't know if I'm equipped for this. Somebody else has it. Like, you could have easily said no and kept going on with your day. You easily could have. And so I want to congratulate you for stepping forward. And I thank you for being that voice, being that person who says, now is the time my voice is heard. Now is the time that we create a community. And you know what? It might not have been your forte, right? Like, you might not have gone to school to write, or, have all the answers, but you don't have to have all the answers when God has them for you. He will put you with people that you need. He will put you in the right places. He will give you the answers. It's you having to step forward. And it reminds me, as we're talking, of Peter in the boat, and he's told to step out of the water, right? Like, come out of the water. And he walks on water. But we forget that part. We only notice that he fell. But you were called out of that boat to step forward and step on water and walk on water. And you did that and then some. So very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's truly powerful to be in a room and in a space, like just being able to talk to you revives my want, revives my why, makes me go, you know what, no, I'm not done. I am still pushing forward. I might not see the result today, but I'm gonna see the result sometime. And who is waiting for me? Who needs me? It is what being, just even being on the call with you and being here with you does for me. So I can only imagine what it can do for others. What has it been like since the publication of your book, for you to hear from others?
You know, it's very rewarding to hear from people. I've been contacted by several people who have brain cancer, brain tumors. One of them, her name's Robin. She unfortunately did not win the battle over glioblastoma, but now she's in heaven with God. She's pain free, so that's the good part of it. But we we never met in person. We never did a Zoom call together, but we chatted with each other and we made this connection with each other. Something that I was blessed with to meet her and to be able to help her just emotionally and give her support. That was beautiful. And um, I had a friend from high school just recently reach out to me who he had a brain tumor removed just last month, and giving him support while he's going through his radiation. And he told me that he was able to go to the radiation treatments knowing ahead of time, you know, what it was going to be like. And he's like, yep, it's just like what you said it was going to be, you know. And it made him feel better, which that made me feel better. And you know, that he felt better. So it's just good feelings all over.
Which is so incredible, because you're acting as a light for those in this time of darkness. And it's your words that are helping them feel like, okay, I can confidently go to radiation. I can confidently step forward in this journey that kind of can seem a little scary, unreal at times, feel very alone. But they have that opportunity to go, you know what, I'm not alone. Look what can happen, right? And look, she did it. I can too, right? Give us a new sense of hope. But sometimes in those moments of darkness, it is that sense of hope that can get us through.
Right.
And so that's got to be one of the most awesome feelings, to hear others go, you know, it was your words that helped me get through it. And I did this because I had your book. So that's gotta be amazing.
It is. And I had another friend reach out to me, and she didn't have brain cancer or brain tumor or anything. She had lost her daughter to fentanyl overdose. And
Mm.
she let me know that my book, because I talk about how God wants us to live and be happy. He doesn't want us to be miserable here. He wants us to live, and bad things are going to happen to us. And just like us as parents, we want to protect our kids the best that we can. You know, we want to wrap them in bubble wrap and everything, but we can't, you know. And so our kids, they're going to get hurt sometimes, but we're there to help them to move forward. And that's what God does for us. And, you know, so when she read my book, she let me know that it helped her to be able to heal from her daughter's death and to move
Mm.
forward there.
And that has nothing related to the main topic, but yet it still
Right.
gave hope to somebody else. It gave them a purpose. It gave them the light that they needed in one of the darkest times of their life. I mean, I could never even contemplate thinking, you know, feeling that what she did, but yet you helped her get through it. And so there's a power within words and how we use them. Um, and you have shown that exponentially in what you do and by sharing yours. So how do we get in touch with you? How do we get our hands on a copy of this book? I'm gonna need you to send me the link. Of course, I'm gonna need that link because I want a copy for myself. But how do others get in touch with you and get a copy of them for themselves?
My book is titled Memoir of a True Airhead, and it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's ebook and paperback, and you can get in contact with me at on my website, brendanearpass.com, or you can email Brenda at brendanearpass.com. Tried to make it easy.
Exactly, right? So guys, I want, as listeners, if you're listening, I want you to understand that there's power in your words and your experiences. What you go through wasn't given to you just by chance. It was given to you for a reason, whether it be a lesson for you or maybe it's words for somebody else that they need from you. But to share what you've gone through, share your thoughts, but also make sure that you go get a copy of Brenda's book. I have to say, I am in love with the title. It makes me so happy. And I love that. That's just amazing. So make sure you get a copy. Go ahead and follow along with Brenda on all of that she has going on. And get in touch because you are not alone in anything you do. There's always a group, there's always a community, there's always somebody somewhere. It's just a matter of finding them.
Right.
Thank you, Brenda, for being on. Thank you for sharing your words and your prompting and push to go through things. Thank you for sharing your hope and your light with the world, because I know that the world is a brighter place because of you today. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. I am privileged to be here. Thank you.
And listeners, make sure you're following along on this podcast for more amazing guests like Brenda and others as we come for our spotlights every week. So make sure you're following along and we'll talk soon.